Welcome to another episode of Natural Mojo. I'm Pamela Sylva, your host, also known as the Mojo Maker, and I'm bringing you power and energy from the great outdoors. Well, I'm just thrilled to be here from Souk Potholes Regional Park on Vancouver Island. It's my first time here, and I have to tell you, it's quite spectacular. I didn't quite expect this. Actually in front of me, I'm watching down below all of the sort of different potholes and water rushing through it. And on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be showing pictures of some of this. And I can't wait until summertime to get here so I can actually start diving in and swimming, just like all the wonderful stories I hear about entices me to do. So anyways, let's get to today's video. We have a lot to cover. Now, I talk a lot about personal development and self-improvement and trying to help you get to that place in your life you want to get in a highly energetic and efficient way. And I have to tell you, if you're anything like me, it's been a chaotic ride to get yourself lined up. It has been for me. I've been one of those people that no matter what I've tried, I'm just so hard-headed for some reason. And it's not that I'm dumping all over myself. I know a lot of people will say, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. And it really isn't about that. For me, I've come to know myself and I've come to recognize that I don't follow along much in the same way a lot of other people do. They seem to be able to hear information and consume that information, and that information sort of blooms within them, and they're so organized and they're so on task and they're so productive and they're so all of these things that I've been so jealous of my entire life, because I always thought there was something wrong with me. There was something broken about me that I just couldn't get myself lined up to get some really important things in my life done. So I spent a lot of time flopping about, trying different things, going to courses, buying books, sitting through meditations, and just following anybody that promised me the holy grail of discipline and productivity and getting my life on track. And it will work for a little while, and then all of a sudden I found myself, would find myself floundering again and lost in my thoughts and drifting towards a new promise or what have you. Now, some of you might look at me and think, well, Pamela, look at you. You seem to have it all together, and you're creating and you're flourishing and you're thriving. Well, let me tell you, it is a hot mess behind the scenes. If I were to take you through a day, you would wonder, well, how the heck does she even get anything done? I wondered the same thing myself. And when I see people show up with these beautiful methods and books and courses and master classes about how to do these things beautifully and effortlessly, I wonder, well, what is going on with me? What is so wrong with me that I can't seem to be one of those beautifully organized, highly evolved human beings I always hear about? Well, one day I got up and I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be one of those people. Maybe I'm looking around because I'm deep in the forest by myself, and every now and then there might be a noise. But I woke up one day and I thought to myself, maybe I'm not supposed to be one of those highly evolved people that are so pristine in every little thing that they do, and they've got their little day timer, and they've got their master pen, and they're always getting things beautifully etched out, and they're on task, and they're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and boom, 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 right until 9 o'clock at night. It's all beautifully mapped out and etched. Now, I get up early. I'm just one of those early risers. I love getting up early because I love what I call the first fruits of the day, meaning that it's quiet and there's nobody about to create havoc and cause distraction and noise. And I just totally love that because I'm a reader. I'm an avid reader, so those first fruits of the day, it's my time to sit in the quiet, read, absorb information, make some notes, and just settle myself. And then it's time to do some exercise. So, I'm obviously not as chaotic as I might make myself sound, but for the most part, it took me a long time to even get that under my belt. So I would wake up and think, well, okay, this is how my day is supposed to go, but why do I always seem to flounder the rest of the time? Or why are my goals still not falling into place the way that I want it to fall into place? And then boom, one day I figured it out. Because that's how life is. Life is not linear. We have been set up to believe that all you have to do is make a list of things and you check them off as you go because life is somehow linear. A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, all the way down to Z. Well, no, my dear. Life is A that goes down to D, that may bounce back up to B, that all of a sudden lands you on G. And it calls for us to be flexible in our thinking. A lot of people, when they don't get to B right away, they sit down and say, call it quits. It's not working. It's working, but we have to go with a flow, with our particular modus operandi, and I had to figure it out. Have you ever heard that phrase, know thyself? Well, this is where this really comes into play. You have to understand the ebb and flow, first of your energy, the ebb and flow of your thoughts. You have to understand the message that is running through your brain that's been planted in there a very long time ago. Then you have to understand how you consume information, and then you have to understand how you output information. And all these things are different from person to person. I have two other siblings, two males, two brothers. We come from the same household, same parents. We grew up in the same home, same set of rules and same set of standards, and yet three diverse, different human beings came out of that. All right. So can you imagine all the other people running around who came from different houses, who came from different value systems and different subsets of thinking and education and experience and all of this, yet somehow all of us are supposed to fall under the same umbrella with the same operating system because someone gave us a book and said, this is how you run your life. Now, think about that. And there are some wonderful teachers out there, don't get me wrong. I mean, things like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I remember reading that book about maybe 25, 30 years ago and thinking, okay, here is the holy grail on how I'm going to operate my life. And I read that book cover to cover. I probably read it about 3 or 4 times, and I got the notes down. I thought, okay, now my life will be fixed and my life will be beautiful and my life will be pristine and I'm going to get it done and my dreams coming true and all of these things. And then all of a sudden, I noticed my life drifting back to the default mode. Well, what happened? Didn't he promise in this book that if I follow these 7 principles, my life was going to be wonderful? So what happened to me? And this went on book after book, course after course, podcast after podcast, system after system. But what I was totally missing was I had a set of operating principles already embedded and installed within me that was blocking my efforts to focus. Now, this is my particular issue that I discovered. We all have different issues that we have to go into our thinking and our subsets and discover for ourselves. What is blocking me may not be blocking you. It might be something that you bound over easily and effortlessly. Meanwhile, I keep running into it face first, right? And there are things that I might be able to bound over easily that you keep running into face first. But so we're all different. So can you see how the same book will not work for either of us? Right? Maybe parts and bits and pieces of the book might be helpful, but we can't squeeze ourselves into somebody else's system that worked beautifully for them. You have to create your own playbook. Where I was mistakenly running into trouble time after time, year after year, decade after decade, was assuming that somebody else had the playbook that was going to allow me to run my life the way I needed to run my life. Okay? And because I couldn't get myself to run my life that way, I labeled myself as ineffective. I needed fixing. There was something wrong with me. So I kept bashing myself across the head, so to speak, feeling less than, feeling as if there was something terribly wrong with me. Maybe I wasn't worthy. Maybe I wasn't valuable. Maybe I wasn't smart. Maybe I wasn't doing a good job. Maybe there was something wrong with me. Maybe I wasn't wearing the right color lipstick. Maybe my hair was wrong. Maybe my skin was off. I don't know. I kept reaching and grasping for reasons why this wasn't working for me. What I wanted to work wasn't working for me. But in effect, what wasn't working was my operating system was off. But no one really tells you that because there's always some topical reason people are wanting to give you to fix the problem. Here's a new book. Here's a new system. Here's a new calendar. Here is a new timer. Here, all of these topical things, in and of itself, they are wonderful tools to have, but they don't solve the actual issue, which I had to tumble through most of my life to figure out. Okay? And I bet if you sat yourself down, you'll find that you're having the same issue. You keep spending good money. This is when they say throwing good money behind bad. You keep spending good money and still not solving the problem. How many daytimers do you have on your desk? Those beautiful books that we buy, and it sits there. We might, get through 2 weeks of actually writing in the book, and then there it stays. And then maybe we think it's the book, it's the wrong book, so we go and buy another book. And maybe it's a new pen, or maybe we need a new briefcase, or a new purse, or a new set of shoes, and on it goes. Maybe we need a new computer. Maybe we need a new desk. Maybe we need to rearrange the room. Maybe I need to get a feng shui master in here. Maybe I need to get, and this is how we go. Never getting to the root cause of the issue, which is ourselves, and not understanding how to set ourselves up to win. So we have to figure out ourselves first. We have to understand how we operate and give ourselves a freaking break. There is nothing wrong with you. You just haven't figured out how you operate yet. Just like my brothers and I grew up in the same household, same two parents, same set of rules, and we all develop differently in our preferences and our likes and our thoughts and just about everything. There are some similarities, mind you, but for the most part, we grew up differently. We are different human beings coming from the same place. So how are you going to line up under somebody else's set of rules that worked effectively and efficiently for them? Discover who you are first. And yes, I think it's important that you consume information. And I think it's important that you understand what worked for other people. But in the finding of what worked for other people, all you're looking at is possibilities. It's about possibility thinking. Read those books. Go back to books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and reread it again. I read that book over 30 years ago. Now I have a different set of eyes and understanding, and I can understand how I can take one or two of those principles and plug it in to my operating system in the way that I consume information, in the way that I produce output of things. I'm a starter and a stopper, and a starter and a stopper, and a starter and a stopper. People will talk to me about consistency. Oh, Pam, you're not being consistent. But for me and how my brain operates, it's time to think about what I've learned and think about how I can produce things in a highly effective way for me, right? So in order for me to effectively produce, I have to work with the ebb and flow of my energy. All right. If I go against myself and attempt to push through on myself, I'm going to miss the mark each and every time. It's okay, guys. I'm going to miss the mark each and every time on this one. Okay, guys. So I have to understand how I operate. All right. Even when I've got people walking behind me, where I thought was a secluded place, the unexpected happens. But I understand how to keep going with the flow. Some people would throw their arms up in disgust and they can't do it and they're thrown off. I understand that happens, right? But you have to understand yourself. So I took a step back. I said, okay, Pamela, think about this for a minute. There must be other people having the same issue where they're hating on themselves for the most part and don't understand what's going on with them. And no matter how many books they read or how many courses they show up at, it's still not computing. It's still not aligning. It's still not producing the output that they would like to put out there in the world. So this is why I made this video, and to say you're not stuck. It's just how to live a chaotic, productive life and how to understand how to put it together for yourself. So I created an outline that, even though it's an acronym of 4 things to do, you can line it up how you need to line it up for you based on how you operate. So I've named it DIVA, just so I can understand the words. DIVA, D-I-V-A, in no particular order, except that it just sounds nice being lined up as diva. D equals discipline, I equals install, V equals vision, and A equals accountability and action, right? You've heard of all of these things before, nothing new here. So it's really about at what point in the game are you entering? Are you entering the point of accountability and action so that you can better install the vision that you have for your life, and you just need a little bit of emphasis on that discipline part. All right. Or maybe you don't have the vision yet, so you need to work on the vision, and then you need to install it into your operating system, and then take some accountability and action, and then maybe have somebody work with you around the discipline part. So you see how all the action steps that spell out Diva really is cogent to how you need to line up your steps and your life. No matter what you're working on, no matter what part of your life, whether it's financial, relationship, physical, health, well-being, spiritual, it all works in all these places. And I'm going to be consistently talking about the discipline, the installation of the vision, and the accountability and action you need to keep moving yourself forward. Okay? And this is not about trying to trap you into a box. This is about freeing you from the box in which you live. And the box is called stuck. Your thinking is quite and incredibly chaotic right now. And ladies and gentlemen, I spent a huge part of my life being stuck in this particular box called stuck. I've been stuck in stuck. But, you know, the world wants you to believe that there's something wrong with you. Only about maybe 2% of the population is able to operate in that high level of, here's the goal, boom, they're gone, and they've executed and they got it. Everybody else is floundering around trying to figure this out because no one told us how we work. No one told us how to get out there and know thyself. We've just been shown how to parrot and about memorization when we go through our education. We know how to memorize, but we just really don't know how to think about ourselves. All we do is bounce off each other and compare ourselves to one another. And for the most part, don't we come up short because we're around others that either, even if they haven't figured it out, operate as if they have figured it out. So where does that leave you? It leaves you floundering and feeling bad about yourself. Okay? So this is why, Diva, now the wind is blowing and this little thing wants to get in the way. And this is why it's very important to know thyself. If you've ever followed my work, I talk about that ad nauseum. Know thyself. Understand thyself. What is your vision? You're going nowhere fast if you don't have a vision. Other than defaulting through your life, you're getting up every day. You probably have a job that you get ready every day to go to, and you think this is your vision. And when you're sitting wherever it is you're working, you know that this is not your vision, don't you? You feel as if there's more to you than this thing that you do day in, day out. And I applaud you if you have a job that you absolutely love. And I hope more and more people learn to love their job. But first they have to learn to understand and love their life and their input into the job that they have, and that it's meaningful enough for them. For those of you that totally hate what you're doing, why do you continue to do that? Why are you continuing to put out that kind of energy into something that does not feed you? Okay? And a lot of people are doing that. They're putting out a lot of energy into things that does not feed them. All right? So it's about taking time out to work on the vision. This is the V of the Diva acronym. Okay? And then it's beautiful. You have this beautifully outlined thing called your vision. Now what? A lot of people want to run in and start taking action, and then they hit that proverbial wall, don't they? They don't know what to do. And then they'll find that weeks and months and even years later, the dream has been forgotten or the vision has just drifted away somehow. And the reason that this happened is you haven't installed it into yourself. No one talks about that. They may talk about vision boarding a little bit, or they might talk about affirmations and such, but I'm really talking about getting that in there. You see, there's this little sort of micro step that's missing. You know, we rush out and we take that action because, yes, we're supposed to execute. But there is the connection of installation, which is an action, and accountability. I needed eyes on me to continually get the installation part done. And somebody came to my rescue with that, to help me with that. So my subconscious can take over and do without me having to use my willpower, which just turned out to be false bravado and fits and starts that got me nowhere fast, so that things can automatically start happening on their own. All right? So the vision I have can be planted deep within my mind and deep within my heart. And when I strayed for whatever reason, cognitive dissonance would start erupting throughout my body and my mind. And I knew that I was going off course, and it was easy for me to bring myself back to center. And it would always be front and center in the course of my thoughts, right? So I started to easily police myself. Before, I was just all over the place, stuck, fuzzy thinking, all of these things that were causing me to lose track of where I was going in my life. Don't you feel that way? Don't you feel as if no matter what you try, what new system you're going on about, that nothing ever seems to be lining up for you, or never gets completed, and you keep starting over again and starting over again and starting over again? I don't have that kind of time in my life anymore. I've lived more than half my life, and you're probably the same. How many restarts are you going to go through before you figure this thing out? Okay? So it's about having a clear vision. If you don't have a clear vision, let's work together. Maybe it's only going to take 1 or 2 sessions to get a clear vision, at least where you can see your promised land. All right? And then we'll talk about an install. How do we do the installation so your subconscious can take over and do a lot of what can be done automatically on your behalf? All right? And the rest of it gets magnetized in on your behalf. Okay? And then let's talk about the discipline. You see, the discipline is another thing that needs to get installed. Part of our issue is that we're not disciplined enough to do even these simple things, to write the vision and to do the installation. And how are you ever going to take action if you're not disciplined enough to consistently take action? Right? Now, I'm not talking about putting you in prison with all of this. And a lot of people feel that, I just want to be a free spirit and a free soul. Well, how's that working out for you? You might be free, but nothing gets done, and you don't get any closer to your dream. And actually, you are quietly stressing over the fact that you're not getting anywhere very effectively. All right? This system allows me to be freer. Because I know that every day, even if it's a little something, I'm getting closer to what I said that I wanted, and the creativity continues to spiral up. And then the A, which is about accountability and action. It's so important to have eyes on you, especially in the beginning as you set this up and trigger this process. The best and top producers on this planet, whether it's in this area of sales or sports or business, they have accountability systems, whether it's a mentor or a coach or a partner or something. We do not thrive in isolation. Human beings do not thrive in isolation, yet we do, because we are too proud to tell people that we need help, or we don't want to invest in ourselves, or we say we don't have the money to invest in ourselves, yet we will go off and buy $6 mochas, right? So it's not that you can't, it's that you won't. So I'm challenging you to really sit back and start asking deep questions. Are you truly committed to what you say you want, or are you just playing with these things and considerations? Right? This is up to you. This is your life. It's not my life. I had to figure it out. I had to trip and roll around a lot of times and fail a lot of times until I finally figured out what the problem was. I had to ask myself, Pamela, why is it that you can't find yourself on the winning side of your life? And then I had to get honest, and the answers I really didn't like, right? It was something that another book wasn't going to help me with. Another course wasn't going to shine a light on it. It was me sitting down and asking the questions and getting the answers that I've been avoiding for a very long time. All right? And it maybe for some of you, it might be a deep-seated traumatic thing or wound that you might need some help with, either through counseling or therapy or what have you. But don't be afraid to get those that type of help, so you can get that energy out of your way, so you can get on with the diva part of your life, the discipline, the install, the vision, and the accountability and action. You deserve to have these things. And whether your dream is a huge, big one that will affect millions on the planet, or it's something small that will just affect you and your family, or maybe your close community and everything in between, it's really up to you to make it this important to get the way clear, to move it out of the way, the boulder sitting on your path that continues to smash your dreams. Right? I refuse to leave this planet. I had refused to leave this planet until I got this figured out for me. I know what gets in my way. I know what smashes those dreams. I know what gets me with the lazy, unproductive, fuzzy, chaotic thinking. But I'm a chaotic person, and I will always be, but now I know how to line it up so it works for me. And this is what the Diva process is all about. It's not to try to make you operate differently than what your energy was set up and designed to do, but to work with it. All right, it's just like a river. There are boulders in the river, but the river keeps flowing. Why? Because it's going with the contour of the land. Let your energy go with your inner contour. And the Diva process will help you do just that. All right. So if you're interested in finding out more, I have a community in where I'm outlining this more and more and unfolding this more and more. And the Diva process is just about to be unfolded so people can actually plug in and start using it, either in a group format or one-on-one with me if they want to do that. Just continue to follow me and just go to my website at PAMELASYLVAN.com and sign up for any of the ebooks or newsletters there, and you will continue to hear from me, and I will be inviting you into the world of the Diva. So I hope this helped unfold some thinking for you. I know it's a lot of information to throw down at your feet in one video, but I promise you, if you stick with absorbing the information in the various ways in which I'm going to present it, you're going to start to get to a level of comfort that will allow you to start to unfold your life and your dream and your vision. So visit me at PamelaSylvan.com and let's get acquainted. And till the next time we meet somewhere in the great outdoors, and hopefully I won't have a traffic of people that found me in the middle of the woods. Who knew? Anyways, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.